The single most important trait in order to be successful and lead an authentic life. What do you think it is? You might say it's perseverance, hard work, patience, or probably specific knowledge. Yes, that's true. But the one thing that no one talks about or tells you about is the courage to look like a fool. Start on your camera, stand in front of it, record yourself, and put it out in the world. You know what I'm talking about.
So Janki, you're currently reading an amazing book, which is The Courage to be Disliked. And what we are about to talk is on the similar lines. And this book is very interesting because you talked about three most important individuals who shaped uh, the study of human psychology in the 20th century: Elder, Freud, and Jung. And a core topic is also about one of those core ideas that Jung has shared. We'll get to that point later. But while we were on one of our brisk walks, you talked about an interesting theory, a theory of yours. And I think that it's basically how you discovered everything and how you're seeking the ultimate truth within. But I was just stunned when you talked about it. So could you just give a high level overview of what that theory is and how did that thought occur to you?
So basically, I would go back to the point where it all started for me, the journey of finding myself or getting closer to who I am truly. It started back in 2021 when I was at the peak of my career, and the default path that anyone would believe that you get to school, you get to higher education, you get to a job, you get married, and you'll be happy and free. But apparently, I had everything that I thought would give me happiness. But being at that peak and being at that point, I realized that I wasn't happy and it did not give me that peace or the satisfaction that I should be getting from it. And that's when my questioning started, the seeking of truth of what do I want and where do I want to go, what is life for me and what is true happiness for me. Because one thing here to really understand is all of us are really unique individuals, and what happiness means for you is going to be very different for what happiness is to me.
Yeah.
However, we have, just like we talked about in the last episode, we have gotten into boxes of beliefs that this is true, this is how you have to live, this is what you have to do. And that that point, it just shattered. And that was the point when I started to explore and start discover, asking questions, seeking and going to different paths, looking for the truth that I was looking for. And in that, I did connect to some parts of my past in my childhood, wherein I got reconnected to the inner child. And while on being on that journey, you will come across certain truths, certain philosophies, certain theories that you think is seems true to you. It works for you, and you start picking those things. However, there's also a point in the journey where once you face the truth, it becomes very difficult for you to demolish what you initially believed and then start creating a new belief system. Start creating a new you, which is more closer to your highest self.
Yeah.
And once you become confident in that, once you accept that okay, this is who I am, you start voicing it to people around you, you start sharing your thoughts, you start being more you become much more grounded, you become much more ease, you are in ease with yourself. And that's the theory, that you find yourself at a spot where you thought that what you have been told, it's true, but it does not stand true for you. Your world shatters.
Yeah.
Then you begin on a journey of an exploration of your own discovery, where you start picking things from your past or from other sources, wherein you find and see yourself that, oh, okay, this is Janki, this is Janki, and you start collecting those things.
Yeah.
You witness, you learn newer truths, which are truth, and you accept those. You become confident in your own self, and then you start voicing those truths.
Yeah.
So that's the theory I have, that I think every individual, some or other point in their life, goes through this journey of
Self
self
discovery.
discovery.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. You know what happened after our conversation where you talked to me about this theory? Of course, I mean, it's a theory not based that we are psychologists and we are saying this. It's a line of thought you had that, okay, you understand that your current systems, the default is applicable to everyone else, but you don't find it satisfying anymore. Then you go out, venture into different parts of your life, and you seek new truths. You replace it with uh, the older, so you unlearn whatever you've been taught so far and you replace it with newer systems, and you start voicing it, and then the loop continues. You keep on going on in that loop. And then I started, you know, my journey of has how do we validate this, and that's the whole episode about. And we know this guy. Everyone on Instagram must have seen reels of this person. It's called Dr. Jordan Peterson, and I came across this amazing videos of his. It's on YouTube, of course. So there are segments of there's an entire talk he gives, but I watched a segment of it, and it kind of overlaps with your theory. And he talks about this idea by Jung, which is mentioned in the book. The guy is mentioned in the book, The Courage to Be Disliked. And he says that every one of us kind of has a higher self, a future self, which manifests. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck, fucked up. હવે કાથી ચાલુ કરું?
Watch this video, and Jung talks about a higher self. Don't talk Jung. He's not mentioned in the book. Don't talk
Jung
about
is
him.
mentioned in the book.
He's just one of the person who is a pioneer in the psychology. He's not
Okay.
mentioned in the book.
Okay. So the last cut was uh,
I came across this video of Jordan, who naam hai?
Jordan Peterson.
Peterson, and where he talks about, introduce a topic and talk about it.
Okay.
Don't ramble. Be on the point.
ભાઈ
હા કઈ નહીં પણ
Difficult છે મારા
હા
માટે.
I know, but be on the point. Notes એટલે જ બનાવેલા છે ને.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. So after you shared your idea with me, I did my own research to understand that whether are there any parallels with what you're talking, the idea just you shared, that there's a circle of life and we kind of have to go through that process to reinvent ourselves. And then I came across Dr. Jordan Peterson's video where he talks about an idea by Jung, uh, who is one of the key members in the field of psychology. So he has this idea, a concept, which is a biological truth, is that we all have a potential future self that is everything we could be. So we as humans biologically are designed to reach our ultimate highest potential self. And as a result, what happens is that a future self would manifest in our day-to-day lives, and it will kind of nudge you in directions of, you know of self development. It will give you interest, different things that might intrigue you. And what happens is that if you seek those interests, eventually, as the path you described, through multiple overshooting and then different exploration journeys, new adventures, you would reach a stage where you are better self than your earlier self. And this doesn't stop. It keeps on happening, that your future self would keep on manifesting in your life, and it will show you or nudge you in different directions of pursuing different interests of your life, just like you said, that things from your past, for example, I know art came back to your life after a long, long time. So that is an interest, that is something that you desire to be, that future self that Janki wants to be would come back, will say that it is your time to pursue art, and you will start pursuing it. If you do that, what happens is that you will not directly be successful. You will make a lot of mistakes because yes, you've done art, but imagine me, I haven't pursued art in that sense. And if one of my interests is now being an artist in the sense that someone who paints, I would be really stupid at it. I would fail, I would be miserable. But that's still better than what I am currently. Right? So, inaction towards pursuing things that would lead to a better self is more damaging than being stupid. And that's what show your work talks about as well, that earlier when you're trying to pick an hobby and interest, you're going to be miserable at it, you'll be bad, you'll be stupid, you'll fumble, you'll stumble, you'll fall. And slowly, if you keep on pursuing it with a pure heart and gratitude for yourself, that okay, you're pursuing it, what happens that you get better and better, because your earlier self who saw that okay, I see a light and this is the direction I want to follow, at that point you're still not ready to accept that as a reality for you to move in that direction. But once you start moving in that direction, once you take that journey, what happens is that the goal becomes more clearer, and you realize that okay, this is not the direction, maybe that is the direction. And then you change your direction. But the good thing is that you started. And if you look at olden like history of successful people, they didn't shy away from pursuing their highest callings. Your thoughts?
I mean, just getting started is more important than being right, is something we keep always hear about or we read it some other place.
Yeah.
I have experienced this, the topic for this episode for that matter, it just came like that because while I was working on the new venture that I wanted to, that we launched today,
Yeah.
for that matter,
Yeah.
it has been coming in rounds and rounds to me in different formats. However, I was too scared to the fear of being judged and looking like a fool and opening myself to the criticism and judgment of the world stopped me heavily because I knew it would make me look like a fool.
Yeah.
That what the hell is she doing?
Yeah.
However, when I got serious to pursue that path of my calling, that okay, it's time that I want to explore it for myself, and realize that it's actually for no one else but for myself, the process, the journey, that's when it stuck to me that the biggest and the most important quality of any individual who wants to lead an authentic life, who wants to be happy, who wants to be successful in their own terms, not in a default, not in a standard format, but define it for themselves. They need to have the courage to look full.
Yeah, to look like a fool. Yes.
And when you're starting out in an uncharted territory, when you're starting out to learn a new skill, you are going to fumble, you're going to fall.
Yeah.
It's just what children do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
exactly how they learn, and that's exactly how they grow. And that's where exactly the beginner's mind comes into the picture. That no matter where we are in what point of the life that we are at, no matter what peak or what position we are at, having a beginner's mind, having the courage to look like a fool is what needs to stay, no matter you're 50, 60, 70.
It will actually. The only difference is that people start along that path,
Yeah.
and people don't.
Don't.
People who don't will end up living life that is unsatisfying. I won't say they won't be successful. Internally, they won't be satisfied. And that's the whole concept of uh, circumambulation as well, is that at the center of it all is you, your truest self. And your future self will keep on nudging you in different directions around you, right? And every experiment, every interest that you chase is eventually going to lead you to the center of your truest self. So what happens is that, for example, if your outermost circle is art, you explore art. Along that journey you discover that I just not I might not be a good artist, but I'm really good at communicating my ideas. So I want to pursue copywriting. So you start exploring copywriting, and then you say, okay, now I really also want to be better at visually communicating that ideas. So I might start being a digital product designer or a designer in general. So it's kind of those loops that you have to keep on following that leads you to the center of your truest self. And as Rick Rubin also says, you can't do shit about it. It will manifest. It's the idea's time to manifest itself in the ultimate reality. It's only one's choice to either pursue it or not. That doesn't mean that someone stole your idea. It's just that you were sitting with that idea and didn't do shit. And when you start pursuing, you are going to, it's a default, it's an unsaid expectation that you're going to be stupid uh, in the very start. And the thing that you talked about, the child and his or hers understanding of human language, it's an experiment that was conducted. So when this individuals had a heavy setup and kind of recorded every word the child would try to speak to a point where they have exactly spoken that word, right? So thousands and thousands of repetitions of getting, for example, the word mama or dada right, is, it's something like this, right? So it fluctuates along a point where after every repetition you come closer to nailing or speaking that word, that okay, this is how I speak the word mama. So that's how we are designed.
That's true. And that's also a concept or a part of the book. When I was venturing out to create a path that was true to me and broke out of the default, I did not know how to figure it out, and what steps to take. So there's this book, The Pathless Path, that I
Yeah,
was
it's
reading,
amazing.
and the author did mention about a fool's journey, that you have to have that spirit of curiosity, you have to have that spirit of a beginner's mind of a child, and simply venture out, take that leap, and keep pursuing it, getting closer to yourself, looking like a fool. Because if we get into the loop of external validation and saving ourselves, protecting ourselves from the external criticism or the judgment, we'll always stay in the comfort, and we'll always stay not trying different things and not even trying to look at different parts of us, for
Yeah.
that matter.
Yeah. Yeah. The worst thing than being stupid or being seen as a fool is not doing anything at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every time that will happen, because once you start along that path, you have traveled along your journey, and from there if you look back, you yourself will look stupid. And that self judgment or self criticism is what hampers your journey further. You just have to be okay with the fact
Yeah.
that it will take some time to get better. And one of the recipes to avoid it and still do it well is what show your work says, that while you are getting better at what you're trying to do, you still can have a richer taste, right? So look at us. We started Design Expansion Lab, our design agency. We fucking failed at it, right? So it was an overshoot.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, this is a northern star, let's move towards it.
Yeah.
We overshot it, and we thought to ourselves, man, this is the best life you're going to have. we traveled somewhat along that journey to realize, okay, that is not the northern star. Now we are more clear, more focused, and the star has shifted.
Yeah.
So we pivoted,
Yeah.
then something else, then something else, then something else. But now the 3 to 4 things we are sitting with, the BNB podcast, just launching Tattva today, you know that the oscillations have reduced, and now it's more clearer,
Yeah.
that where is it that we want to
Yeah.
move, what is more closer to our hearts. And I just feel very different after doing Tattva today.
Yeah.
It's just very pleasurable.
Yeah, I did feel there's definitely a feeling of a little, having a little fear when you're trying to do something new and put out your work in the world, open for judgment. You do feel a little scared, but it also gives you that satisfaction of putting your work out there for people to consume it, for people to experience it. And it's a journey, it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just the seed that's been sown. And I find relief in accepting myself a part of me which probably I wasn't even looking at,
Yeah.
which I ignored. Maybe no, that's not where I have to look at, or maybe no, that's not meant for me. But once I accepted it, I gave it time in order for it to settle, for that seed to grow, for that idea to grow in me,
Yeah.
and then put it and share it out with the world. And now I worry less. I don't care about if it's going to be a failure or a success, because what's important for me is to put my work out there, to accept myself in my whole form.
Yeah. Yeah. It might not be the best, but yet the curation is important, right? Things that inspire you
Yes.
are still good. And that is what I was talking about, having a richer taste or a
Yes.
good taste. If you have a good taste, share your taste first, yeah, your curation. And then while you get better, it's time to show your work.
Yeah.
Like Tattva has been around for 1.5 year now.
More than
So,
that,
yeah,
actually,
yeah.
Tattva was inceptualized back in
20, I
2019
guess.
or
19, yeah.
2020, during COVID.
Yeah. Long
Yeah.
time. But yeah, so that's the most important thing, I guess. The secret juice, the sauce to being more successful
I'm happy.
and happy is to be okay with the fact that you will look like a fool and people will call you stupid. You yourself will feel a lot of the things you're doing is
Yeah.
stupid, and that is good. Figure out a way to keep pursuing your interest and make sure that all of the things that you pursue eventually has to come down to that core utility of self development and getting closer to your future self.
Yeah.
Anything before we close it?
I would just like to end it saying, you might say that it's easier said than done,
Oh, yeah.
but living with a desire to do something else than what you're doing is not easy either.
Yeah.
So the choice of either daring greatly and pursuing a path that is true to you,
Yeah.
or just staying where you are with those desires, those interests, deep rooted within you, the choice is definitely yours
Yeah.
to make a decision, take action, and move towards the goal, the desire, intentionally, slowly, and with compassion.
Yeah. Yeah. And the only thing with this adventures is that you will never know that whether this is the right adventure for you or not.
Yeah.
You'll only know when you start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, get started. And I guess that's all from us.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one. Cheers.
Cheers.